Welcome to Believers Talk and Week 4 post-game. My name is Joe, and in this edition of Believers Talk, we are going to talk about the Buffalo Bills-Green Bay Packers game in which the Packers won 22-0, shutting out our Bills. Before we do that, however, if you have not already subscribed to Believers Talk, please be sure to subscribe down here on the right-hand side, left-hand side, I don't know, one of those sides. Hit the notification bell because we will continually go live for post-game, pre-game, and we do live play-by-play and analysis during the games themselves. So if this is your first time here, you want to make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you are a Bills fan. We will be going live for the play-by-play and some reaction to the play-by-play as well. So welcome to Believers Talk again. My name is Joe. 22-0, the Buffalo Bills lose to the Green Bay Packers. And man, what a rough game if you were a Bills fan. Now, I'm not going to sit here and just talk to you repeatedly about how bad we looked at certain times in that game. If you saw the game, you know. If you saw the score of the game, you know that at times it was really bad. So what I wanted to do here is get on here and kind of maybe even talk about a little bit of the good. I know some of you are thinking 22-0, what good comes from 22-0? But man, there's a lot more good here than people realize when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, mostly on the defensive side of the ball. We'll get into both defense and offense a little bit as I pull up the stats here from the game. I want to go over the stats to start off the game. Again, these aren't going to sound like the best stats in the world, guys. We're not going to wow you. Obviously, you lose 22-0. Nothing good comes from that, right? So I just want to go down the stats real quick. So we have Josh Allen going 16 for 33, 151 yards, 2 interceptions, was sacked 7 times. Now those 2 interceptions, again, the first one, if you were on the live stream, I was really upset about the first one, thrown across his body. Reminded you a lot of the interception that he threw in week 2, where he threw it across his body, which means he's not learning from his mistakes. That's one thing. I said this in the live stream yesterday, and I'll say it again. I do not care if you make rookie mistakes. Like, those are going to happen, but I want you to learn from those mistakes. That is the biggest key to those mistakes, is learning from them. So him making those mistakes is frustrating, but they are rookie mistakes. So, we'll see what we can do about that. Hopefully he learns from them again also in the future, so he does not need to keep doing them over and over and over again. So hopefully that does not continue. But then we want to get into some other stats. Did not run the ball much at all. One of the biggest issues with our offense was we ran McCoy 5 times. 5 times we ran McCoy. That's not going to get things done. McCoy is still our playmaker. I know a lot of people are still talking about trading McCoy. I'm just not a fan of that personally, and I just don't think it will lead to anything good as far as equity for him. You talk about his legal trouble currently. You talk about how he hasn't had any production on the field, not any fault of his own, but because we really haven't used him. Again, we rushed him 5 times. He had 8 touches total for less than 40 yards. So that's not going to get it done when it comes to trying to move the ball. So we had McCoy with 5 rushes, 24 yards. Josh Allen had 5 rushes for 19 yards, and Chris Ivory had 6 rushes for 15 yards. There's no reason, if both backs are fully healthy, that Chris Ivory should be getting more carries than LeSean McCoy. That should not be happening. And it shows here, even in the limited amount of carries, he averaged almost 5 yards a carry, LeSean McCoy, and Chris Ivory only averaged 2.5. So there's a little bit of a difference. Sorry if I'm coming across with a raspy throat. The game yesterday kind of gave me a little bit of a sore throat. Might be getting a little sick here, but I still wanted to come on here and make sure that I gave you guys some analysis, some of my breakdown from this game. So going into the receiving stats, we have Charles Clay. A lot of these receiving stats actually came in the fourth quarter when it was kind of like the Packers were playing prevent defense. So, but Charles Clay had 4 catches, 40 yards. Zay Jones had 4 catches for 38 yards. Kelvin Benjamin had 1 catch for 34 yards. If you saw the game, you know that Kelvin Benjamin went out early due to he got hit really hard on a comeback route. That we'll talk about a little bit more later in the episode, and one of the positives from that. Not saying Kevin Benjamin getting hurt was a positive. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is there are some positives that you can take from that. So LeSean McCoy 3 carries, 13 yards, 3 catches, 13 yards. Kareem had a catch for 13 yards. Andre Holmes had 2 catches for 8, and Kyrie Lee 1 for 5. So that's pretty much it as far as the stats on the offense go. Defensively, we have, and this is something I really want to get into and talk about, Ryan Lewis was our leading tackler. Ryan Lewis also had 2 forced fumbles that no one really talked about. I feel like Ryan Lewis played a lot better in this game than some people might think, or he is part of that silver lining that I was talking about that I do want to talk about a little bit later as well. And then we had the interception that was Tremaine Edmonds. Got his hand up, and then Poyer came over the middle. Jordan Poyer came over the middle to intercept the ball. First interception by Aaron Rodgers at home in quite some time. First interception Aaron Rodgers has thrown this year. So we did get to Aaron Rodgers a little bit. We had the 2 sacks, both Siran Neal and Taron Johnson both got to him on sacks. And again, another forced fumble there. There were plenty of opportunities for this defense. You even talk about Ryan Lewis, and he had that pick 6 go right through his arms. He could have had it, but that's why he's a cornerback and now wide receiver. He's not used to catching that ball. So these are things that if they would have gone our way, might have swung the momentum, but our offense struggled all day. We barely got, I think we got maybe 11 first downs, 12 first downs, something like that. And again, most of those were actually in the fourth quarter when the Packers started playing a little bit of prevent defense to keep the ball in front of them. So, I'm not impressed with our offense, but some good news about our offense. At least our quarterback in my eyes, talking about that Kelvin Benjamin play where he got hit right as the throw was coming to him and got out with what I assume is concussion protocol type stuff. The good news about that is Josh Allen took the blame for that. How many times do you see quarterbacks not willing, and the Bills had plenty of these, not willing to take the blame for things? Josh Allen came out and took the blame for the whole thing. He took the blame for the offense looking the way it did. And part of it was his fault. Again, that first interception, that was the same type of interception that he threw in week 2 against the Los Angeles Chargers. He needs to learn from those mistakes. It looked like he had trouble finding his rhythm to begin the game as well. So, that seemed to be an issue for him. And we hope that gets better. It might be a little bit easier once he's at home to find his rhythm. Have the crowd not so far. They talked about during the broadcast even about how in week 3 against the Vikings, the Minnesota Viking fan base was actually out of it a little bit when he came on the field because the Bills forced those fumbles. Those gave Allen a short field. The fan base wasn't into it after seeing their offense get stripped 2 times in a row, and so that might have helped him. The crowd noise wasn't as loud. Whether that had an effect on the game or not, Green Bay is a totally different atmosphere and a totally different defense. I'm not sure. Going into this game, we led the league in QB pressures, which I believe no one talks about that. This defense is a lot better than people give them credit for, and that's one of those stats that kind of convinces me of that. Now, didn't get a lot of pressure on Aaron Rodgers, but that's because there were a lot of plays where he was getting the ball out of his hands quickly. That's something Aaron Rodgers is really good at, is getting the ball out of his hands quickly. Obviously, there's a big difference between Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins, and even just the 2 offenses in general and type of offense that they can run. I was thinking that with Randall Cobb being out for this game, that might be a big advantage for us. But with Allison there and Jimmy Graham there and some of the other players, they were able to get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers was able to get the ball out of his hands still quickly. Aaron Rodgers looked better than he has so far this season, so that's nothing we can do about that. He was able to complete some passes he wasn't able to complete before. He was still a little off. If you watch some of the throws he made, were still a little bit off. Not as far off as Josh Allen's throws, but that's still neither here nor there. Our defense still played pretty well, holding them to 22 points, considering our offense didn't do anything. So there's some observations from the game. Again, there are some good to take from this game, guys. Really some good. Our cornerback depth is much better, and our safety depth is much better than we thought it was. Taron Johnson had a great game, I thought. Ryan Lewis stepped up. Ryan Lewis was picked on a lot in this game because, first of all, because Tre'Davious White was doing a great job on Adams. But secondly, just because of how young he is, that we were taking advantage of that inexperience. So that's kind of like a silver lining. Another silver lining that no one's really talking about, penalties. We cut back on the penalties, guys. We only had 6 penalties in this game. I want to make sure that is correct before I just go spewing out lies. But I'm pretty sure we only had 6 penalties in this game. I'm sorry, there were 8 penalties total. We only had 3 penalties in this game. 3 penalties for 20 yards. So that's something that we obviously improved on a bunch. And that's good to see because we were tops in the league, well, we're worse than the league as far as most penalties. So this will bring us down a little bit, and we need to continue to do that. One thing we needed to improve on in this game was time of possession. We lost time of possession by almost 10 minutes. Can't be doing that in games like this when we're on the road with a young quarterback and they have a guy like Aaron Rodgers. We cannot be losing time of possession. We need to be able to get off the field on 3rd downs and be able to extend drives with 1st downs. So, unfortunately, we couldn't do that. But again, silver lining is that defense. Edmonds played a lot better. I think Edmonds led the team in tackles. Or no, Lewis did. But Edmonds was up there as well. A few forced fumbles. I think we had 4 or 5 forced fumbles. I mean, we did recover the Aaron Rodgers fumble on the sack. Had 2 sacks on Aaron Rodgers. A couple good things. Tre'Davious White had a couple pass breaks up. Lewis had 2 pass breakups himself. So some good things there. And again, being able to see our young quarterback just go to the podium, take blame for the loss, and say, hey, the offense not doing well is on me. You know, Dable came out today and made some announcements about what they're going to do to try and improve this offense a little bit. So I do look forward to seeing that as well. And then, you know, Leslie Frazier and Coach McDermott also came out and said these are learning experiences, guys. Guys, we have a really young team, so these kind of games might happen here and there. But that's something we have to remember. We also have a really young team. So the room for improvement is definitely there. Something else that I saw, it does look like this is going to be Kelvin Benjamin's last year in Buffalo. I remember the first drive, and I know he got hurt in the game, so I don't want to talk too badly about him. By the first drive or second drive, maybe Josh Allen threw a comeback to him. He didn't even go towards the ball. He waited for the ball to come to him. We can't have that lack of effort. We need a number 1 receiver who's willing to go get the ball. And I do look forward to finding that receiver at some point. But you know, I don't think it's going to be him. Do we look at the draft? Do we look at what quarterbacks are available in free agency? I don't know. But we do want to look at that going forward, I think. That's not something that we can waste time on. And obviously, Zay Jones might not be the answer that we thought he was either, which is a shame. You know, I really liked drafting Zay Jones in the 2nd round. But again, it just doesn't look like he is the answer. Although he did have 4 catches, again, most of it in junk time. But maybe that will start something between him and Josh Allen. Same thing with Charles Clay. Maybe that will do something to get them started. So I don't know. But again, the Bills lose 22-0. I wouldn't look too much into it past this week, guys. This is a week-to-week league, as we are seeing all around the NFL. You know, you have the Titans going 3-1 right now, and they just beat the Eagles in overtime in a thrilling game. Like yesterday, if you're a Bills fan, the game itself, the Bills game, very depressing. But yesterday was a fun week in the NFL. Crazy week. We had 3 overtime games, a lot of close games. We had Dallas win on a last-second field goal. You had Trubisky throwing for 6, 7 touchdowns, something like that. So that was crazy over there. There's a lot of craziness. So a week-to-week league. Next week, we're going back home. It feels like it's been forever since we've been home, even though it's just been 2 weeks. But 3 of the first games on the road, we come out 1-3. And, you know, that might be better than what some people were projecting. So we'll see how it goes going into next week. Again, this season might not, I mean, there's no such thing in my eyes as a wasted season. But if you're looking just at a win-loss standpoint, maybe you won't be as satisfied with this season. But I will be looking for the season to improve Josh Allen, to improve a lot of our rookies and second-year guys, especially on that defensive side of the ball, and look to continue to improve. Like I said, maybe 6, 7 wins, something like that nature. This defense is going to win us games, guys, and that's something to look forward to. So other than that, not much going on in the analysis. I will be back on here Thursday at halftime of the Thursday night game to give analysis of the game coming up between the Buffalo Bills and the Tennessee Titans. Buffalo's going to be home for the 2nd time this season. We all know last year they went 6-2 at home, so we're hoping to bounce back after losing to the Chargers at home, get a win at home, and move up to 2-3 on the season. And then Sunday, of course, I will be going live for live play-by-play and reaction to the game, so I hope you guys can join me for that. But that's all I have for you today as far as this video goes, the post-game of the Packers beating the Buffalo Bills 22-0. Hope that if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below. We will happily discuss some of these comments. I know someone put a comment about Chad Kelly in a previous video about possibly picking up Chad Kelly, but you know, the defense played well enough to win. I think we can't give up on Josh Allen. Absolutely not. And the last thing we need is another young quarterback. What we need is a veteran quarterback to go in there. I've been screaming this since we traded A.J. McCarron. We need a veteran quarterback to be a backup to Josh Allen, someone to help him learn in the process. Nathan Peterman's not going to help him when it comes to those picks thrown across the body. We need someone to be able to go in there and tell him to stop it. This is not Wyoming. So, again, Thursday night, you could join me here at halftime of the Thursday night game as I will do the pregame for the Buffalo Bills versus the Tennessee Titans. Sunday, I will be here doing the live play-by-play and analysis of the game, so join me for that as well. And then if there's any breaking Bills news throughout the week, we will be covering it for you right here on Believers Talk. So if you haven't already subscribe to Believers Talk, like this video, leave a comment or two. We are on Facebook, we are on Twitter, so like and follow us there as well. But till next time, go Bills.